Hey you, I'm Rossinier. I'm coming back to you from afar and I am a South African abroad. So I have quite a few people asking me now how I got to Vietnam, especially right now during the COVID pandemic, what the whole process was, and there's kind of multiple questions like that, and I've told them all I'm going to make a video, so here is that video. So in this video, I'm basically going to discuss how I got to Vietnam from start to finish, and then kind of how the situation is right now in Vietnam at the time of filming, and how you can possibly do the same. So I've got me a cup of morning brown at 3 in the afternoon. Let's get into it. So firstly, the good news. At the time of filming, as far as I am aware, Vietnam are allowing international flights into their airports. I flew into Hanoi, and I believe you can fly into Ho Chi Minh or Saigon as well. However, in order to get into Vietnam and in order to get that visa, you need to get a sponsor. Essentially, you need to find a job beforehand, you need to speak for that job, you need to speak to them, and they essentially need to sponsor you to come into Vietnam. So that company essentially will go to the government and say, we need this teacher, we need them to work for us. So then the government says, okay, they'll let you in, and then you can get your temporary visa in order to enter Vietnam. So what I did a couple months back is I got in touch with a company that I have some friends at. Luckily they had 1 or 2 spaces still open for teachers, so I spoke to them and they were able to get me a sponsor in order to bring me over here. Now, bit of a catch, you need to pay a lot of money, quite a bit, because firstly this company now are putting a lot on the line. They are essentially going to the government saying they're going to vouch for you, so now if you give issue or if you come through and bring COVID into the country, it's kind of on them. So they need to make sure that you're going to be taking this seriously and that you are reliable and trustworthy. Before anything happens, you need to pay a deposit in order to get your 3 approval letters. So you pay your deposit and then you got to wait a little bit of time. For me it took about 4 weeks. Right now with the recent COVID outbreak in Vietnam, it may take a little bit longer, but for me it took about 4 weeks. I got my first bunch of approval letters, and then you have to pay the next portion of the fee, and then I think it was like another 2 weeks, and then you get your visa, which is valid for about 3 months. Next bit, do you need a degree to get here? This can change from kind of company to company. I know for me it was definitely preferred that I had a degree, and you do definitely, no matter what, you do need a TEFL certificate. I did a 120-hour online TEFL course about a bit over a year ago. So I have that. I also have my Bachelor's of Arts, and then I also do have some experience with teaching online already. So this will definitely help in your favor if you can have those 3 things. Luckily, I also do have a British passport. Because of this, I didn't have to do a test to kind of prove that I am fluent in English. I think they recently took South Africa off the list of fluency in English speakers. So if you are just on your South African passport, you may just have to do an additional test to kind of prove that you are a fluent English speaker. That I don't know too much about. So after your 3 approval letters, what happened with me and what should happen is your company then should put you in touch with an agent in Vietnam. For me that really helped. Now what this agent is going to do for you is they are going to help book your flights, they are going to help with your hotel quarantine, this, that and the rest. So what we did is we paid the agent some more money, they organized the flights for me, they organized the hotel quarantine, they sent you all the information. I will admit they might not always respond straight away, but they will respond, they will give you all the information you need. There's a lot of documentation that you're going to need to bring, specifically those 3 approval letters, and then once you get your flight information, obviously hold on to that. Your hotel booking, hold on to that, that's important. They will give it to you a while before, so you can kind of Google where you're going to stay. That was definitely a bonus just to kind of see where I was going to be beforehand. Now, next thing, what documents do you need to bring? So firstly, the main important things are, if you have your degree, you need to have your degree. You need to have your TEFL certificate. If you're thinking about coming out to Vietnam or anywhere at this side of the world, I suggest getting a police clearance, especially if you're coming from South Africa. That can take a really long time to get. So even if you're thinking about coming this side, go apply for a police clearance now. It will definitely help in your favor. So now that you got these documents, you need to go and get them notarized. You do not need them notarized in order to enter the country, but this is going to help you get that teaching job. And then getting them notarized and authenticated for international use is what will help you get a work permit, and then subsequently get your temporary residency card, which allows you to stay in the country for 2 years without having to extend your visa every 3 months. Now, I know I've given you a lot of information, so please stay with me. Right, so I'm filming this the next day, because there's one thing that I forgot. Because of the COVID rules and the regulations changing here, essentially also I had to find accommodation before I even got here. Now this was a bit of a struggle, I'm not gonna lie to you. However, I did meet some other people on the plane and they weren't told this, so I'm not too sure how kind of mandatory this is, but I was told that I need to have an apartment already waiting for me after hotel quarantine so they can take me to it, and then just in case I do get COVID, they know where I am. So essentially you need to find an apartment, and that's where you need to stay just for like a month or two, just as a prelim period after your quarantine. You don't have to stay inside of the apartment, you just have to reside there just for a little while, just so they know where you are. So a helpful way to do this is there's a bunch of Facebook groups, especially for Hanoi. That's how Vietnam does a lot of their selling, a lot of their advertising, is there's just all the Facebook groups. There's Hanoi housing groups, and all the time there's people posting about apartments. I just posted I'm moving to Vietnam soon, I need to find an apartment quick. I said I'm not there yet, I need it ready for me when I arrive. And I got absolutely spammed with messages, with apartments and everything. So it was actually quite easy. I had lots of offers, really nice places. I got so many, it was actually really difficult to choose. It was tricky, obviously, choosing one that I had not seen before. Luckily, I had a friend here who was able to go check out the apartment for me, and he gave me the go-ahead. He's been here for a while, so he said, look, it's a good place, it's a good deal. So I was very comfortable taking the apartment. So if you have somebody here and that is something that you have to do, I suggest asking them very nicely to go and inspect the apartment for you. But most people in Vietnamese are very friendly, very helpful. I messaged the landlord and explained the situation, that I have to be in quarantine. I knew they were waiting for me, so we had to just do an international payment to pay a deposit and first month's rent, just to prove that I'm gonna be there. No landlord's gonna want to hold an apartment empty for so long. But yeah, so I have the apartment waiting for me, which is a bonus. So that is something you might just need to be aware of as well if you're moving to Vietnam. So after you've got all of that done, obviously now before you leave, you need to go and get a COVID test, and it has to be negative. You need to send this to your company or to whoever is organizing your flights and your quarantine. You need to send them a document proving that you are COVID negative. And then also you need to hold on to that and make sure you also just get that travel letter from wherever you get tested as well. That's very important to have. When you go to the airports, the first thing they're gonna ask for before you even check your bags in is they're gonna ask for your COVID test. Next, this is something that I was not told at Johannesburg airport, and I arrived in Vietnam completely unaware. Had I not made friends with two guys on the plane, I would not have known what to do. In Johannesburg, I was supposed to fill out an online form that was supposed to give me a QR code that I had to scan when I got to Vietnam. I was not told this, I just filled out some paper form that some guy just was collecting in his hands, and that's all I was told. I was able to fill it out online in Vietnam airport. Luckily they had Wi-Fi, but I was very stressed, I was very scared. Had I been on my own, I wouldn't have even known what website to go to, because the people scanning the QR codes didn't know a lot of English at all. So that would have been very tricky. So when you are traveling here, especially from South Africa, as far as it stands, you need to fill out an online form. Make sure you do that, make sure you get a QR code ready. When you make your initial check-in, this is when you should have to do that process. Then you get to fly here, you can book your luggage straight through, and then you're gonna get to your hotel quarantine. Now, because very recently they had a recent outbreak, as far as it stands, when I'm recording this video, we are looking at about 80 to 100 cases a day. Now for Vietnam, that is quite high. So most things are closed right now. Because of this, hotel quarantine has been extended from 14 days to 21 days. So 3 weeks in a hotel, it's a bit hard, it's a bit difficult, but I'm gonna make a completely different video on how to survive that a little bit later this week. Because of this recent outbreak as well, schools and learning centers have been closed, but most of these are moving on to online teaching. Now this is unfortunate because a lot of people want to move here to get away from online teaching, but if this is where it needs to go to in order to get back to in-class teaching and in order to get the outbreak and the pandemic under control, then so be it. I think it's the necessary measures to take. Vietnam is normally quite good at handling this type of thing, so I think this is the best way to go about it, the best way to handle it, and I'm sure pretty soon that we will get back to in-class teaching. But for now, they are doing online teaching, and the nice thing in Vietnam is you don't have to do just one job. So even when you have your company that sponsors you, you can still look for other covered classes, other online classes to make some extra money as well. Again, at the time of recording this information, I believe to be correct. Bars and coffee shops and that, the ones around the COVID outbreak hotspots have been closed down. However, there are other coffee shops and other food spots around Vietnam that are still open. I'm not 100% sure about bars. I haven't been able to leave the hotel. I'm trying to find out more information from friends, so follow my Instagram page and I can post little updates of that as well. But to round it all off, as of May 5th, Vietnam have recorded 2,996 cases of COVID-19 since the outbreak in 2020. Since then, there have only been 35 that have passed away and the rest have recovered. Every time there is an outbreak, Vietnam seem to be able to control it quite well. So we're hoping for the same, and hopefully by the time I get out of quarantine, things will be slowly getting back to normal. So I really hope that video helps. That's kind of the process that I took. So it is a bit complicated, it is very pricey, but it is possible to get into Vietnam right now. You just have to follow these steps and these processes. If you have any other questions, please leave a comment and I will answer to the best of my ability. or you can follow me on my Instagram for more updates and for more information. If you haven't yet, you can check out my travel video from getting from South Africa to Vietnam, and you can also check out my initial response to the hotel quarantine and the room tour to see what it's all about. But otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please like. If you want to see more from Vietnam, if you want to see more from me, please hit that subscribe button. And yeah, I will check you guys soon. Stay awesome, stay cool, and remember, playing is boring.